Whether you're training for a 5K, 10K, on up to a marathon or longer, you should be incorporating long runs into your training. And it's exactly what it sounds like. The long run is the longest run of the week. So for these long runs, there is a specific pace you should be running them at. And in this video, I'll share with you what that pace is that is essentially unique to you. Hey guys, I'm Jane, an RRCA certified running coach. I'm happy to have you here today to talk about long run pacing. So one of the main reasons that you should be doing a long run in your training is to build your aerobic capacity, or how well you can bring oxygen to your cells as you run. In order to do this effectively, you need to not only complete the distance of the long run, but also be doing it at the appropriate pace that allows you to build that aerobic capacity. So what pace is that? It's not just a given pace that's something like, oh, you need to be running 9-minute miles, because every runner is different. What it does need to be run at is your easy pace. So yes, most of your long runs are going to be run at an easy pace, especially if you are someone who is a beginner or novice runner. If you are much more experienced, then yes, there is a time and a place to put in some pace work or fast finishes into your long run. But overall, most everyone should be doing most of their long runs at their easy pace. So the reason that I want to share this with you is because so many of you guys probably print plans off the internet. You type in free marathon training plan, which is totally normal. And maybe you end up on something like Hal Higdon's website. He has all of these great training plans, and he even explains them well and how you should be doing your long runs. However, a lot of us will just go down and hit print. And once we've done that, then nowhere on here does it say what pace you should be running those long runs at. And so many people are running them way too fast. So when you're doing that, unfortunately, it's not giving you those aerobic benefits that you need. So let's talk about the two main reasons you want to be running those long runs at an easy pace. So number one, the aerobic capacity benefits occur when you run at your easy pace, otherwise known as your aerobic zone. So the goal of the long run is to improve your cardio endurance and that oxygen uptake. So the more you can stay in that slow, easy zone, the better aerobic engine you're going to build for yourself. So once you start going too fast, you're in a completely different zone. Not even just going in an anaerobic state, but even between that, in that kind of gray area, or what some people refer to as junk miles. Essentially, you really need to keep it in the easy zone. The second reason that it's so important to be running these long runs at an easy pace is to protect your body. So in order to protect your neuromuscular system and your joints and everything that is allowing you to run all of those miles, you need to be running at an easy pace. So a lot of us think that, oh, well, we should be running at our marathon pace because I'm training for a marathon. And if I can do the miles at marathon pace, then I'm proving to myself that I can do that in the marathon. But in actuality, when you run that marathon, you're going to be tapered and you're going to have fresh legs, which you don't have in the middle of marathon training. And if you're doing every long run at a marathon pace or around that or faster, you're likely going to end up with an injury, or what we call an overuse injury. So as a coach, this is something that I see all too often, is runners going way too fast on their long runs. So if you want to get the most benefit from those long runs and reach your potential and protect your body, you need to be going at an easy pace. So if you're asking yourself, well, what is that easy pace and how do I find it? Now, I have a video that's all about easy pace, but let's go through a quick rundown of how you can find that. I would say the easiest way to figure out your easy pace is to keep it conversational. So if you can go out with friends, then absolutely you'll be able to notice if you can have a conversation without heavy breathing. If so, you're probably running at an easy enough pace for yourself. If you're alone, you can practice singing or just talking to yourself for a minute. If you have to pause a lot between words, or you find yourself catching your breath or it feeling difficult to get your breath, then you're not running easy enough. The other way that you can measure this is if you're using a heart rate monitor. Best way is to use a chest strap, or you can use a good GPS running watch. I have a couple recommendations, so I'll link one up here that has a very good heart rate monitor. And that heart rate should stay in the 70 to 75% of your max rate zone. If you're going above that, you're no longer in your easy pace zone or that aerobic zone that's helping you build that aerobic capacity that you need. And lastly, if you know your maybe half marathon pace or your marathon pace or 5K pace, then you can be able to figure this out from those paces. And the best way to figure out some of those race paces that you should be doing is to do a time trial. So I talk all about how to do that time trial and how to figure out what your paces should be, which is really, really important if you're training for any race. And when you know that, think about your easy pace being 1 minute slower than your marathon pace, 1.5 minutes slower than your half marathon pace, or 2 to 3 minutes slower than your 5K pace. Essentially though, you don't need to always be looking at your watch. A big way to do this is to just go by feel. Think about conversational pace and listen to your body. Take note of how you're feeling. If it seems difficult to you, then you're absolutely going too fast. If you ever think, am I going too fast? Then you probably are and you need to slow down. So if I can give you one piece of advice about your long runs, it's to keep them easy, keep them slow, and unless you're working with a coach or have a specific training plan tailored to you, then most likely all of your runs should be at an easy pace. All right, guys, thanks for joining me today. If you have any other questions that come up about marathon training or long runs, I would love to answer them, so place them below, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.